thrash metal was never really a really big thing in the UK. And I always felt, just in Europe in general, a lot of the thrash bands over there never were really recognized as much as they should have been.
Yeah.
What was the thrash scene like in the UK when you were coming up? Because it had to be a lot different than, say, the Bay Area scene or the East Coast scene in the United States, or, the German, Central Europe thrash scene with bands, coming from that area. What was it like for you coming up in the UK playing this kind of music?
I mean, there was always a good scene for bands coming into the country,
Yeah.
There was never a very big scene for the UK actually making bands. I mean, when we formed, there was probably only one or two other bands, and that went on for 2 or 3 years. So there was no bands, no thrash bands at all, basically. But there was a decent scene for the music. I mean, you have to look at, I think, the first time Slayer came to the UK, they played at the Marquee Club, which was like 250, 300 capacity. I think Metallica, same thing when they came over. And it took until the back end of Master of Puppets, really, for Metallica to start playing kind of 2,000 cap venues.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was, I guess, from like 86 onwards, it started to get a lot bigger, I guess, when it started to feed off America a little bit more. But I mean, it wasn't massive, but there was always a good fan base in England for it. Maybe not as much as Europe either, but it kind of grew as the years went on. But we never had the volume of bands like the Americans did, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I can't name very many UK thrash bands aside from you. I mean, maybe Zentrix, maybe them, I mean, but, there aren't a lot. It felt like everybody in the metal scene, when they say, oh, metal from the UK, they think Black Sabbath, Maiden, Priest, Saxon, things like that, bands like that. They don't normally think of thrash bands. So I just found it interesting what it had to be like for a band from the UK playing this kind of music.
Yeah, I mean, we took it to kind of the biggest levels it got, I think, from 86 to 89. I mean, we went up from playing clubs like the Marquee and venues like that up into theaters and stuff. But that's as big as it ever got for any UK bands,
Mm-hmm.
Whether it would have gone any farther, I don't know. But the grunge thing kicked in like 1990, and everything went to shit again.
Yeah, you guys played a very short tour here in the States, and it was let me just say, it was a very interesting show because, Artillery, another band I consider overlooked, like you guys. And then obviously Psy wasn't in the band, so you had Neil Turbin singing for you, which was pretty interesting. So what was that tour like for you guys? You played some very small venues over here. Obviously, Onslaught is a band that really had never really truly made it over here before. And touring America is challenging, from a cost perspective, from, figuring out, because the country's so big. What was that first experience touring over here? Because I met you there here in Cleveland, and it was the first time I've ever seen you live. So what was that tour experience like for you coming to America?
Well, that was actually our second tour. We've done a full tour with Empire of Evil, which is now Venom Inc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've done.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. A few years before that, I think we'd done like 28 shows or something like that.
Okay.
So we knew what we were expecting, but the tour with Neil Turbin was a little more than interesting, I would say. And Artillery, 42 shows in 42 days, including a trek across a very snowy, icy Canada in that time. So we were able to make a show every day.
Yeah.
And it was madness. I mean, we went from New York up through New York State up to Canada, across Canada, down through the West Coast, down to California, across Arizona Texas, and back again to LA. So it was a brutal journey with somebody, let's say, we didn't really see eye to eye with after the first show on that tour.
I could figure out who that is. Anyway,
Yeah.
go on.
Unfortunately, Cy's son was ill.
Yeah.
A couple of months before, 3 months before the tour, and he gave us plenty of notice. He said, "Guys, I can't go away at this time when he needs me at home, etc." So, all the tour had been booked by then. A lot of work had gone into things. A lot of expense had gone into things with the work visas and etc. etc.
Yeah.
So we thought we really can't cancel this tour. It's going to be really hard on some people, you know, and potentially losing a lot of money. So I'd met Neil Turbin before at Sweden Rock Festival, and came across really, really nice guy, you know. We got on well then. So I thought, well, let's give Neil let's give him a call. He's not doing anything much as I'm aware. I spoke to him, and he was really up for the tour, you know. And I thought this could be a perfect scenario for Onslaught. Bit of profile with Neil singing and what have you. I'm sure he's going to do a great job. And then first show of all shows was going to be New York City, which could have done without that really as the first show on the tour. But Neil turns up with rather a lot of luggage, you know, and a video prompter, which we were all like, "What the fuck's this? Like, this is a thrash metal show. Are you going to have that on stage in front of you?" Like, well, guys, I don't know all the lyrics yet. Well, you've had 3 months to learn, and you still don't know the tracks. Like, and that was about the high point of Neil Turbin. I guess every show went downhill rapidly from there on, you know. And it wasn't until maybe the 39th show that the straw finally broke, and we couldn't take it any longer. It was just unbearable. Artillery guys felt equally the same as us, and we said this has got to stop. Concerning thing was, we were obviously playing the Whiskey in LA, which was sold out as the last show of the tour. So it was a big move to actually tell Neil to kindly go forth and multiply somewhere else. So then I think I had 2 or 3 shows. The only option was for me to sing. I mean, I know all the lyrics because I wrote them, etc. So the only option was for me to try and learn and sing these songs and play guitar at the same time, which I've never done. So I was basically sat in a hotel room or the van, whatever, just going through this stuff. I remember the first show, I think in Arizona, was a complete disaster. Really, I really couldn't pull it off, and I do apologize to anybody who was there that night. But we got to LA, and I was kind of pulling it together a little bit. We'd spoken with the other bands. I think it was Artillery and a band called VX36. And we all decided that they were going to chip in and help out with vocals here and there, do little bits, come on stage, come off. And that's what they did. And I remember we arrived on stage. I made the announcement to the Whiskey, like what would happen. Most people are aware because I'd spoke to journalists before who would kindly put the story out, what was going on. First song kicked in and the place just went absolutely fucking insane. And it was just one of the most enjoyable gigs we've ever done. After that, it was crazy. It was like a party atmosphere in the end. Everybody, the crowd helped us along, the bands all chipped in, and it was just one big like end of tour party show, you know.
Yeah.
And came off stage after a few beers, and all the security guys were coming around like, and they were like, "Man, this is one of the best shows we've ever seen at the Whiskey." It was like they were all called, "We want to buy shirts." So the atmosphere was just brilliant with the staff as well. It was superb. So we kind of saved our asses a little bit with that one show because obviously we got a lot of publicity on that one. So yeah, a few tough lessons learned. We got away with it. in the end.
I still have my tour shirt from that tour. Yeah, again, it was just cool to just see you guys play the songs live. There was a small venue. There were small venues, at least the one here was, but it was definitely cool. I hope to see you guys over here at some point.
Yeah,
Down the road.
we were supposed to be over 2 weeks ago for Hell's Heroes in Texas.
Yeah,
but our work visas didn't arrive in time. 3 of the guys got their visas 2 days before we were due to fly. And myself and Wayne, the other guitarist, I got mine this Monday, just gone. And I'm not sure if he's still received his back yet. So we had to pull out of that one. Extreme, immense cost because flights were booked.
Yeah.
Visas were paid for. But now we've got our visas. So we got 3-year work visas now, which allows us obviously to come and play at any time we like in the States now for the next 3 years. So
yeah,
any opportunities that are coming our way, we'll be there. That's for sure.
Awesome, dude. I really hope I can catch you on tour here at some point because I would love to see this band with its current lineup live.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably say it's going to be a lot better than the first time I saw you. So
yeah. It's killer. I mean, the Dave said,
yeah.
The whole band, it's the highest level we've been at for sure.
Yeah. So a couple more questions for you. So we talk about thrash metal. You brought up Testament. What are some of the thrash bands? Who are some of your contemporaries, as we would say, that that who make music that you really actually like? As far as like the thrash scene goes.
I really like Testament a lot. Testament, they're cool guys. I love the band as well. Exodus as well. Those are my probably two go-to bands. But I mean, we're on a friendly basis with those anyway. So I mean, we've known each other for quite a long time now.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, bands. I mean, we've not played with too many of the bands,
Yeah.
Bizarrely, which is strange. We played with Exodus a lot and Testament.
Yeah.
That's why we get on great. Hyrax, I really like them. Caton's such a top man,
Yeah.
We toured with those in Mexico, which was great. So yeah, I mean, there's a Destruction, Sodom are great guys as well. So yeah, both sides of the pond, and it's all good.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, I gotta tell you, I really appreciate the time. I think these re-recordings sound fantastic. The selection of songs for the covers, I think, is really cool because there are songs on there from bands, a lot more punk bands than anything. But I think that it really gives people great insight as to where your musical roots are and what brings it in. But I think they were really well done. I gotta compliment you on that before we go. Any last words for any people that are going to be checking out this interview?
Yeah, you must check out the new album Origins of Aggression coming out May 23rd. It's a history of the band from our beginnings up until 1989, and I think you'll find it very interesting, especially listening to the cover tracks and reading the reasons that we've done those covers. And I think you'll really start to hear where Onslaught came from when we started, or the ideas to start the band, and then developing through to the Power from Hell album.
Sure.
It's an interesting thing, and as I said, I think it's much more interesting for the fans and ourselves even than just doing a straight re-record of Power from Hell.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I appreciate your time. It's great to have you on. Definitely, you have been a favorite band of mine for 25 years now. So, definitely, and I'll give you a little bit of trivia about myself. Believe it or not, the first song I ever heard from you was "In Search of Sanity." That is why I brought that song up. Completely different from the other albums I ended up listening to later on, which I liked, which I do like a lot more. But I like the new stuff obviously so much better than when you first came back with like Killing Peace and stuff like that. I think that this band in the modern age is just the music is phenomenal. It really is.
Very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.